Hello and welcome to KamenRider Blackman, and welcome to part 2 of KamenRider Ryuki month. So last week we did the show, and now we will be doing the alternate endings. Starting off with the first one, the first one that I watched immediately after I finished the show, KamenRider Ryuki 13 Rider Special. Let's just get into it. This special exists, and it shows characters are out of character, and the simple presence of one character just hurts it more. But this isn't a harping fest. Well, it kind of is, but let's just start at the beginning. This is an alternate ending that can go either way, and that was the first mistake, and we'll see why later. In said alternate ending, Shinji becomes a rider in place of Keiichi, who saved him from being eaten by a monster. He dies and tasks Shinji into becoming the new Ryuki and destroying the core mirror. The core mirror is the main mirror of the mirror world that projects out monsters so that if it was broken, no more fighting. Although I still see some flaws there. Anyway, because riders on the other hand would still have their powers and would just skip the need of monsters and just have an all-out brawl between all 13 riders. And going forward with this special, it exists to have an alternate ending as opposed to the show's canon ending to really debate the whole timeline change crap. I'm not going to waste any more time being, not cryptic and keep going forward because I don't think I've said anything too, hidden at all. But anywho, where was I? Yeah. All the other writers in this special are just asses, just to be asses, no deeper meaning or anything in between because it's not an episode of the show where we would learn more about their motives and whatnot. And in this, Shinji is at the forefront of being completely out of character in some angles. Like if this was an episode of Ryuki, Shinji would have still had his composure and attitude, but cut back to keep some sense. But in terms of behavior and wanting to stop the rider battle, because of how humane he is, he's just more of a complete dumbass. Like, you may notice now the title, the 13 Riders Special, but it's because there are actually 13 writers in this, unlike the show, where, including the alternatives, we only got 12 writers. Ryuga and Fem are in this, along with a new writer, KamenRider Verde, and he is the worst character in this. He's just some businessman fighting for power, and I can't help but want to think of something that really hits my mind.
You don't want to take over the universe, do you? No. You wouldn't know what to do with it, beyond shout at it.
So, Kamen Rider Verde, let's talk about his suit. And because, for starters, he is a chameleon. For starters, he's based off of a chameleon. And, this is actually quite an interesting design. I quite like it. And his final event. One thing about him though that I think is very out. One thing about him though I think is very out there, and that's his final event, where he uses his monster to throw himself and your opponent into the air, just to come back on the ground, just to give him a concussion. I am not kidding. He pile drives someone's head into the ground, and that's how they die. But anywho, yeah. Verde is the worst character in this, and I'm so happy when Ren finds it in him to kill Verde, but only right after Ren dies himself. So, crap. Yeah. Anywho. Ren then gives his Knight deck to Shinji, making him KamenRider Knight. And we now get to the worst of this. The alternate endings. In one alternate ending, Shinji becomes Knight and decides to fight. And in the other ending, Shinji becomes Knight and destroys the core mirror. And even after that, KamenRider still exists, thus made it pointless to destroy the mirror if just monsters are no longer popping up, because their powers aren't tied to that directly. In case I made it clear by now, well, let me change my mind. This special doesn't exist. This special sucks. Like, everyone is not how they're not supposed to be, and they made the climax to this just utterly pointless, saying that there's no escaping the rider battle. Even if one thing's taken away, Kamen Riders will still just fight each other until there's one man standing and make a bloodbath out of it. So utterly, there was no point to all of this. And seriously, and this is something that goes on for like 49 minutes. Well, I finally got this out of the way after the third take. Well, thank you guys for watching. There's still plenty of Ryuki month to come. So, please not forget to like, subscribe, share this video, and tell your friends about KamenRider Blackman. And stay tuned for next week when we will be checking out episode final. Peace.